Hey everyone, it's Laura. I hope you enjoyed that little intro. I thought it was appropriate for the ocean theme. Those are the ducks and the chickens. I have the brooders sitting behind me in the studio, so I apologize if you hear them. So today we are going to be watching me draw and paint. Now, if you want to skip ahead and skip the drawing process, I will put the link below in the description that jumps right to the gouache painting if you wanted to skip the drawing process. I do have it sped up quite a bit. The drawing process took me about an hour and a half to do, I think. But again, like I said, if you wanted to skip ahead, please feel free. I have it condensed down to like 5.5 minutes, I think, of drawing. So skip ahead if you'd like. If you want to watch the drawing process, great. I am using the Sharpie S Gel Pen again for this project. And this scene is of an auxiliary, it looks like YWCA, like Seacoast Rescue Team from 1920. And this photo was taken in April. And these group of women have an amazing story. And being in San Francisco, there's the Bay Area and lots of ocean water to rescue people. So I thought these ladies were heroes and I wanted to celebrate them with this drawing and painting today. So let me talk about the drawing process just for a minute. So I am using my sketchbook. It's a Strathmore softcover multi-medium sketchbook. This sketchbook I find is great, and because I haven't used any other sketchbooks prior to this point since college, because most of my illustrations were on illustration board and other papers and canvas, I didn't have much to compare it to at this point. So I actually am finding I really like it. The paper really takes to the gel pen, and I don't find that the gel pen skips on it very much, which on some papers it does, especially, you wouldn't think so, but especially like textured paper, like textured watercolor paper. And I think because it might have a little bit of a slippery surface to it, but for this, the gel pen glides excuse me, right on the paper, and it was nice and easy to draw on. So the way I started drawing this, because I've been challenging myself to, probably since the beginning of the year, to draw without erasing. And I wanted to really sharpen and hone in my drawing skills this year, because I typically just paint. I really wanted to try to push myself to work on contours and let my lines be part of the creative process and not worry too much about perfection and worry more about the creativity and the improv behind it, and just let mistakes, what I would consider a mistake, and erase it, happen. So you'll notice on this drawing as I was working, a lot of the faces are funny. In fact, my 9-year-old came over to me quite a bit and he was laughing at their faces, and you know what, so was I because they're funny. But I just wanted to commit that line. I didn't want to erase, because you get tied up in perfection too often, and I'm speaking about myself, and less into the creativity, and you burn out too fast. And this illustration would have taken probably 3 times as long as it did, and the whole thing took about 7.5 hours from start to finish. And I just really wanted to enjoy this. And so, yeah, some of the faces look really funny, and a couple of them look like pirates. But that's okay. That's okay, because some of the quote unquote autocorrect comes with painting as well. So you can manipulate with the color over the top of the pen. And again, you can look at it like they're two separate entities, the drawing and the painting. Because I'm more fluent with the paint than with drawing, I wanted to make sure that my drawing level was matching my painting level. This is just me personally. And so that's why I'm doing this the way I'm doing it. So I just wanted to be more of intuitive marks versus having it be really purposeful and thought out. I wanted this to be a fun painting. And so far, out of the illustrations that I've done this year, I mean, here it is April, I think that I'm improving, and that's good. So just working on those contour lines. Again, don't be afraid. I wasn't afraid to make them look silly and make them look goofy. That's fun. That's fun to me. And it's not making fun of these ladies, because I'm using the photograph as an inspiration and a reference, and not to exactly copy. I'm trying to create that story that I so often talk about, in building the essence of the time, the place, when it was taken, the joy behind these ladies' eyes to be part of this group that they're in. I wanted to capture that versus something that was very sterile to look at. This is a joyful piece, and I wanted to make sure it stayed that way. So being free to sketch without erasing and let happen what happens, and know that it's just in my sketchbook. This isn't a commissioned piece. It's freeing. It allows me to keep going and not get stuck in the vortex of erasing and making it look perfect. I hope that makes sense. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking in circles or spirals, but that's how I see it anyway. So when you're drawing, please let yourself just kind of go a little bit, commit your lines, and don't be afraid to draw in marker, draw in permanent pen, because that helps you build your confidence, and it also helps you with your drawing skills. Okay, enough about that. Yeah, so getting these ladies in, I started with the middle lady first. So that way I had planned out enough space on both sides. So that pre-planning I did. But I'm using Winsor Newton gouache, which I always use. This is tubed gouache that I have in my palette, and I let it dry. A lot of artists use gouache right from the tube while it's wet, and I love doing that as well. It's thicker, you get a nice consistent brush stroke. The paint is very opaque and it's flat, and you can get some nice tonal values with it. You can also get a lot of solid value blocking as well. But having your gouache dry in your palette and add to it as needed when you run out, I find is interesting and just as much fun. I reactivate my my gouache just like I would my watercolors. Really soak them with water and let them sit for about 5 minutes, so that way the gouache truly gets activated by the water and I can pull off color easy. So I'm using this squirrel hair mop brush, and I'm blocking in some of these background areas with different color values. I'm using a lot of oranges, a lot of yellows, yellow ochres. In the sky, I'm using cobalt blue and also some burnt sienna and some permanent white, because I really want some opaqueness with this project. So the permanent white serves perfectly for this. So I'm just adding in some texture in the bottom where the sand is. I'm adding some broad strokes in the sky and just layering up the color just to give it some depth. Again, I'm just playing with this. I'm using this black and white photo as a guide to values. So the sky looked to me like it could have been a bright blue with giant clouds were in it, but it also could have been gray. It could have been, yellowish if it was bright like this. So I'm not sure, but I chose to do blue because I thought it would be a nice contrast with the sand and with the burnt sienna colors. I like that warm, cool combination, and it also replicates the seaside scene really well. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I've spent a total of probably about 7.5 hours on this illustration, and I have it whittled down to 37 minutes for this video. So there's a lot that I had to take out just so you wouldn't be bored, and hopefully you're not. But if you have any questions about any of the things that I've done or the process, please just type them in the comments for me, and I will get to you and I will answer your questions. Or if you just want to say hi, I'm all about that as well. So I'm just going to keep layering this up for a few more minutes and build up the scene. All right, so I've got some great layering down right now, and what I'm gonna do next is I am going to let this dry. You can see the sheen on it right now. It's pretty wet. So I'm gonna let this dry and come back and start building layers over the top of it. So with using this gouache really thin, like watercolor, you probably are asking, why don't you just use watercolor? Well, I do. I do a lot. Gouache is like my love, but with the gouache, it has that chalky feel to it, that chalky, overcast, I guess you could say, feel to it, even when it's thinned down, especially on the opaque colors, like anything with white in it. Anything that you add white into it, or anything like a cobalt that has white built in, or some of the convenience colors have white built in. You're able to be transparent and opaque at the same time. So I really like that versatile feel to the gouache when I can do that. So with the blouses, with the permanent white that I'm adding in. Even though it's permanent white, and I do have it pretty thick on my brush, you can still see the gel pen that has been smeared underneath the white. And you can also see the first layer of colors that I put down, those washes. You can see those still coming through. I'm going over some areas as highlights, as you can see in this photo reference, but I'm leaving a lot of the blouse area and where the shadows are with that first layer. It's almost like watercolor painting in reverse. That's another one of the flexible things I love about gouache. You can start with a middle value and then toggle to a darker color and then toggle back to a lighter color or a tint. I just love it. I love the versatility of the color, my soul. Versatility of the medium. There we go. I have a hard time spitting words out. All right, so I'm pinning down to a smaller brush, and this is the Pinturale paintbrush. This came in a set, and I'll have the links to this set and all the other supplies that I'm using in this video in the description below as well. The Pinturales are great. They're a professional series paintbrush, and I can get in a lot of tight little areas with it, and also has a great spring to the bristles, and it's an all-around good versatile water media brush. So what I'm doing right now is adding in some indigo and some black, and I added in some oranges as well to mute down the indigo a little bit. And I'm painting their knickers with this Kolinsky Emerald Series brush. I'll put that link below as well. This one has a pointier tip to it, and it's allowing me to get into some really tight little areas. Both brushes are great, but they serve different purposes. The Pinturale is a little bit more rounded at the end, where this Kolinsky comes to more of a point. So yeah, so I'll put the the links in the description, and then you can check those out. But I'm sure that you have some great brushes that you can use that are just as lovely. So the faces, rendering the faces is a bit of a challenge because, again, I was just playing when I was drawing with the S Gel pen. So now I'm looking at, okay, what are the features of the face? How can I get the likeness without getting an exact replica? I want to have this be more of an artistic style, have this be more fun, and not copy this exactly. Lots of times when I'm painting from an old photo, and this photo is not any different from a lot of the other ones, you can see where the eye wells are, and you can see where there's a lot of dark shadowing in where the eye sockets are. And a lot of it has to do with the intense contrast. The light source is right in their faces, and that's why they're doing a lot of squinting. So that has a factor into it, but also a lot of the older photographs don't have the range of tonal value like the photographs of today. So even though you're looking at a photo for a reference, you're also relying a lot of your intuitiveness to interpret the face, the tonal values of the face, the shape of the nose, the shape of the mouth, how far apart or close together the eyes are, if the ears are showing, if the hair is covering. So because most of the photographs are soft in nature, getting a defined line or a defined shape will be a challenge, not difficult, but a challenge. And that's something that I welcome because that gives me a pass to be creative and to make up my own face. I don't know these ladies, and I want to replicate them, but I also want, like I said before, this to be creative and playful and have it be a piece of art versus another photograph. just wanted to say how much fun I was having painting this, especially the hair. Their hair is blowing all over the place from the sea breeze, and they're squinting, and their faces. I just was laughing, and I was having a ball painting this. And I think that is the true essence of being creative. I used to paint real structured and very traditional, and I used to paint very tight with a lot of detail, and I loved it for a period of time. It wasn't very creative to me, but when I looked at it, the precision was, to me, yeah, I like this. And I thought for 40 years that's how art was supposed to be, is precision. I wanted to be a medical illustrator. I wanted to paint diagrams and detail work. But then I had kids, and I just couldn't, bear to see like animals or humans, like the actual diagrams, you know what I mean? So, so as I got older, now I am finding that I'm having more fun with my art, even though I am a professional artist and I've made my whole adult life career as an artist. And I'm sure you've experienced this too. I've segued from style to style and from medium to medium, and my techniques have changed, but that's the growth process, right? That's how artists grow. And I think when you get stagnant and stuck in one style, it just doesn't become enjoyable anymore. It becomes more of a chore. So you can see I've got some close-up of these faces, and this is how I work. I have it slowed right down to 100% for this, so you can see. Now I've got it sped up again, but you can see that I really take my time in putting in the details to give these ladies a great personality. Okay, here's what I got to this point. I've got several of the ladies' faces in, including this, it looks like a junior cadet, maybe. And I keep saying that, I love painting from black and white photos, but I don't know what color their outfits are. I'm assuming their blouses are white based on the tonal values in the photograph, but I think the photograph provides the framework, and the rendering and the color selections is the creativity behind it. So if you've never painted from a black and white photo before, I highly recommend it because it's a lot of fun. So when you are adding in the first set of washes and even the smudging and smearing from the gel pen, that creates that unification for the base of the illustration, and that helps tie the piece together. And I just wanted to mention that because I don't think I did at the beginning of the video. Well, I hope you think I was successful in creating the spirit behind the photograph. A lot of it is just guesswork. A lot of it is creativity and intuition and being playful and being willing to take a chance. Even if you don't think the face looks like the face in the photograph, keep going. Because you never know what it's going to turn out to look like, and you might like it better than the photograph. Well, I hope you liked this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you got some value and inspiration out of this little mini tutorial. If you really like this painting and you want to see more of these and other vintage and retro inspired illustrations, I would absolutely love if you would give me a thumbs up, comment, and I would love to hear from you. And if you want to see more, please subscribe, because that helps out my channel and it helps others like you get to see the work I've put into this. So thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now. God bless.